Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, let's talk about your blood. Yes. So, picture this. Your blood is like a busy highway, carrying oxygen, nutrients, and protection to every part of your body. But just like any highway, it needs the right fuel to keep moving smoothly. Let's just pray that there are no road bumps. Now, imagine skipping the right foods. Slowly, the traffic clogs. Red blood cells struggle to carry oxygen, your immune system weakens, and fatigue becomes a daily companion. Over time, the risks grow. Anemia, poor wound healing, even reduced brain function. The good news, what's on your plate can change the story. I've seen this as a Hippocrates that said, let food be your medicine and let medicine be your food. Well, that ascription is there. So foods rich in iron, folate, vitamin B12 can strengthen your food and keep your energy. Why am I talking like one of them? I'm not the one to do the talking this morning. We have with us a consultant hematologist and executive secretary of the Lagos State Blood Transfusion Committee, Dr. Bodrin Ashikomaya, with us this morning. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I like your opening note. It looks like a poem. Yes, it looks very much like one. It would be nice if you could just get it together. We could probably put it on our platforms and acknowledge it.
Oh, okay.
It's yours.
Thank you.
Really, really nice.
You see? Now I'm a writer. Okay. I am not sure from your experience if you can say that people significantly attribute the health of their food, beg your pardon, the health of their blood to their food. In fact, do you think people even give much thought to blood health?
Well, I think people that realize that they do need blood are beginning to think twice about the health of their blood. Because the Bible says, I think, I can quote it, the life is in the blood. So people are beginning to understand that there is so much that is in blood that makes you healthy. You see, even in Yoruba, if you have high blood pressure, they call it ejeruru, you know. If it's sickle cell, they call it jejere, cancers. So they're beginning to attribute a lot of illnesses, good health to blood. So I think things are changing, yeah.
I will still have, I want to see the data. The reason I say that is not because, of course, you know your onions, you know what you're talking about, but the way people just want to eat, right? Whether it is healthy enough or not, I think that's the question that I'm asking, whether you think people give attention to whether or not, oh, this one is going to help my blood and all of that.
Yeah, I still maintain the fact that people do think about it, but you're also right, people just want to eat because of the economy. They're like, what will fill my stomach? What will keep me hungry? What will keep me full for as long as possible? But people do think about it. In schools, it's being taught that you need this, at least in biology. From primary school, they'll tell you about the classes of food, the food types, and as you go, it's each year they keep mentioning things about food. So I know people think about it, and yes, also because of the economy, people just want to eat something. So it's a feel of both of them. Knowledge, yes, good, it's there, but what is actually done is another thing.
Now, can you help us break this down? First of all, we often hear you are what you eat, and then there's that Hippocratic statement, let food be your medicine and let medicine be your food. How does that specifically relate to the health of the human blood?
Yeah, because blood is manufactured from the bone marrow, and you need some things for it to be manufactured. And most of those things come from what we eat. So we have nutritional things that should support the production of blood and the constituents of blood. And then we also have hormones. We're not going to talk about that because without those chemical things, it's a mix of those things, the things you eat as well as the chemicals that are being produced in your body. So what are the things you eat? The most common class of food that is needed for healthy blood are under the classification of the nutrients. So we have the minerals and nutrients, and then we also need those proteins. So we have the major nutrients that should be taken, and we have the minor ones. So the most common ones, you mentioned it, iron. Without iron, really, you will not have adequate blood. So where can we get this iron from? They are usually from greens, leafy vegetables, and then reds. I tell people that once you need your iron, look out for the greens and the reds. And where do you have the greens? You have the ugus, you have the wedus, you have the okras, you have the spinach and things like that. The reds, you have the liver, you have kidney, and these are parts of, they are offals in the body, and then you have red meat. You also have a bit of iron in other things like cereals. So your beans, your rice, all those things, your grains. And if you could have enough of that, you could have adequate iron. Apart from iron, you have the vitamins. We have a lot of things like the vitamin B12. Understand? We have folic acid. They are really important for red cells. And you can also get all those things, proteins like chicken, things like that. White meat has a lot of vitamins, B12, vitamins, folic acids in it. You also have the cereals, back to red meat too, it's also there. And you have every other vegetables, fruits and vegetables. So if you can have this, vegetables, and you can get vegetables almost everywhere. You can plant vegetables just around your house. It doesn't have to be in the farm. You can have good source of vegetables irrespective of the season. All you have to do is have a place where you can plant them. Apart from this, you also have, I mentioned proteins. Our cells are made from proteins. So if you don't have enough proteins, irrespective of those minerals and the nutrients you take, you still will not have enough to ensure that your cells are healthy. So it's all a mix of everything. And then we have some things that people really don't talk about. They're really micronutrients. One of them is copper. Copper is really important because the enzymes that helps your body to use all those nutrients you've eaten have a lot of copper in them. So if you don't have copper, these enzymes will not be able to perform their function. So, well, I tell people that if you eat the food of color, you'll be healthy.
We've had that statement before.
Oh.
In fact, there is a nutritionist that came here and said, you have to eat the rainbow.
Yes, you have to eat the rainbow.
Okay.
You take the foods of color, you will be healthy.
Okay. There are some people who like to do fast food. And I'm not talking about the fast food. They want the blood production to happen very, very quickly. So they combine malt drink with egg. So talk to us about that. If it is true that when you combine one malt drink, I don't know which brand, and you just put 1 or 2 eggs inside, you mix it together, your body will produce blood very, very quickly.
It's just a fad, it's a myth, it is not true. So those myths came out from people that donate blood. You know, you want to donate blood and you want your blood back immediately. They do not understand that when you donate blood and you lose some of your energy, some glucose leaves the blood. It's a part of the blood. And so when you take that malt drink, it helps you feel better because some glucose is returned back to your body. It's not like this malt drink is actually giving you blood. And then the proteins, as I said, you do need proteins. It's just a myth. It's a feel-good thing. And sometimes you need feel-good things to want to donate blood, you know. Okay. So it's not true at all. All you need to do is to take a lot of water once you donate blood, and you eat your normal balanced diet, and your bone marrow will definitely produce more blood. Okay.
Now, for someone who feels constantly tired, could it be their diet and maybe by extension their blood health?
So tiredness can be caused by a lot of different things. It might not even be blood health. Oh. There might be other things. It might just be hungry if you're tired and you have adequate blood. So being tired is it's a symptom that might be caused by 1,001 things. So if you constantly feel tired, I will advise you to go to your healthcare provider and be well investigated. However, if the tiredness is related to blood health, it might be because you don't have enough blood. We know that blood performs a lot of different functions. One of the functions is to carry oxygen from place to place. So if you don't have enough blood, oxygen won't be carried to very important places like your brain. And so your brain is deficient of adequate oxygen that would help you to think right, that would help you to do a lot of things. Your muscles will not have enough oxygen that will help you to feel vital and strong enough to do a lot of things. And so if you do not have enough blood, the first thing we talk about, first, you need to know the level of how bad the anemia is. We'll check if it is mild. We can just advise you on your nutrition, because nutritional deficiencies and diet is just one of the causes of inadequate blood. In this part of the world, apart from nutrition, the second most common cause of anemia is blood loss. And it could be from blood loss following deliveries or even during pregnancies. It could be blood loss from accidents. It could be chronic blood loss, like when you have ulcers, and we call it bleeding peptic ulcer. The person is an ulcer patient, is not well treated or is not adequately treated, and the body continues to lose blood little by little. It could be due to infections like even malaria. When you have very severe malaria, it could cause a destruction of your blood, and then you become anemic. Or you could have parasitic infections like all those worms and schistosomiasis. All these things could cause you to have inadequate blood, which will give you one of those symptoms like tiredness.
Okay. How does your blood, or rather, how does the body signal to you that it is not getting enough of these blood-producing nutrients?
So the only way the blood will signal to you is symptoms like headache. Some people can come with headache. You could say tiredness. I feel tired. You could look pale. People will notice first that, oh, you do not look as pink as possible. So if you look at your palms, you usually look pink. People will check it. Oh, you look pale. Let me see the inner part of your eyes. So it is not as pink as it should be. So these are some of the things you will notice about it. So before you even know that the blood is not enough, you will notice those symptoms. But there are a large percentage of people that walk around and do not even have the symptoms. So it's a two-way thing, and that is why we encourage you to have a regular health check, and so that you know when your blood levels are low. So if you have had if your blood levels have been low for a very long period of time, your body gets used to that level, and so you might not have the symptoms I'm talking about.
Can you please explain in everyday language how our diet directly influences the way blood cells are formed in the bone marrow? I know that this is biology 101.
No, it's not about in everyday language. Okay. So it's biology 101.
Oh, okay.
No, biology half or half.
Half.
So what we can do, let's start from the red cells. Red, what we call blood. We call blood red because of a lot of those red cells. Those things that are red is called hemoglobin. And the in part of the hemoglobin is made of iron. So if you have that heme, that is the iron, and the globin, that is the proteins there, you can say that I've mentioned those two, the iron and the proteins need to come together for you to have those red things. And remember that those red cells are what will take oxygen and nutrients around your body. So if you do not have enough iron, there is a lacuna. It's unable to form that hemoglobin with the proteins for you to be able to function very well. So it means that there are two things that forms that red component that we call blood, and if you do not have enough iron in it, what happens? There is inadequate blood. Hope you understand. That is one part. So just imagine you need to put Lego together to build a house, and if the parts of that Lego, the building blocks of the house are not there, what happens? The house will crumble. And that is the way it is with other things like folic acid, as well as the vitamin B2. Without them, you're unable to have the healthy blood produced. It just remains there. The globin, the protein just moves around without having the exact thing it needs to attach with for you to have adequate blood.
Okay. Now, there's a question that I must ask you, and that is the function of what happens when you are not able to, when your blood doesn't clot. We'll come to that one in a moment. Yeah. I have to ask that question. Yeah. But what are the consequences of not having enough of these things? What are some of the you've talked about the hemo and the globin, or whatever it is that you call it. What are the consequences, the conditions that one could develop if you don't have enough of those in your body?
The nutrient, so we have nutritional related anemia. That is the consequence. Everything causes anemia. So if
inadequate blood.
Inadequate blood. So sometimes the blood might be small. So if you don't have enough iron, for example, you know, that hemoglobin is not there. So what happens? It makes it smaller. It's like you need to have 2 balls in the bag for the bag to be fine. And if you have 1 ball in it, what happens? There will be space. The space for that other ball will collapse. So we call it a microcytic iron deficiency anemia. So it becomes small. That small size is unable to function effectively. If you do not have adequate vitamin B12 and folic acid, which helps with DNA. You know, DNA, well, you know what DNA is? I'm sure everybody does know. It's a part of the body. It makes the blood look big. So we call it a megaloblastic anemia. And that blood too is not going to be adequate. So it's too big for it to do the functions it's supposed to do. So there's no way. This is biology, half or half.
Okay.
So really, just as you have said, we just classify everything to be nutritional anemia.
Okay.
Trying to explain each one make us go from half O1,
yes,
half O half to 202.
We understand, but essentially the underlying thing is we must eat the rainbow.
You must eat the rainbow.
Blood.
You must eat the colors to have enough.
But there is this question I have to ask you, and I've heard about it. The most we knew was red blood cells and white blood cells. You have told us that there are 5 parts to a blood. We'll not talk about that one today. But the part I'm concerned about is when someone has a wound and the blood does not clot, what is the consequence? How did that happen? Is it also nutrition related?
Well, really, it is not particularly nutrition related.
Could it be?
It could be everything. When your blood does not clot, it could be due to inadequate special chemicals in your body. Number one, that is the coagulation factors. So part of the things that you have in that thing called plasma that is like straw colored in your body are those chemicals in your body. So if it is not adequate, your blood might not clot. There's something called platelets. Platelets are like sanded parts in the blood. They are the first call when there is a wound. So if the platelets are not adequate, blood too will not clot. There are times when the 2 of them are available and you're unable to, it's possible that you've eaten something or you're on some particular drugs. Blood too will not clot. So based on what we'll see, platelets, if it is not enough for whatever reason, then it has to be replaced back. If the coagulation factors are not enough, for whatever reason, it needs to be replaced. So conditions that we have inadequate platelets can be seen when there is severe blood loss. You know, when there is severe blood loss, everything goes out together. And most of the time when we return, people just return the red cells because platelets do not last for long. Platelets in blood, once it gets into the blood bank, that is that refrigerator where blood is kept, it becomes destroyed within a few hours, maximum 24 hours. So by the time we are giving blood back, there is no platelet in it. Once platelet is removed, it only lasts about 5 days. And so we tend to just give the blood, as in the red cells, and we forget about it. Another reason why platelets could be low or inadequate or not well adequately produced is when we have bone marrow failures. People that have cancers, they have that issue. There's a bone marrow failure common in people with cancers or people being treated with chemotherapy, and which destroys their bone marrow, and so they cannot produce adequate platelets. On the other hand, we have the coagulation factors. The hereditary conditions that does not have you don't produce enough. So we have a lot of hereditary conditions like that. And people walk around like that, so be careful who you eat on the road. The person might just not have enough of all these things.
Well, lastly, because I know that you want to also expatiate on this, most of the time, hydration is often overlooked in conversations about blood health.
Yeah.
How much does water intake matter for maintaining a healthy blood volume and quality?
So a major part of the blood is made of fluid. That is like water. So I'm going to give everybody listening job to do when next you go to the hospital or your blood sample is taken for an investigation. Just look the sample bottle that is taken, just watch it for a while. You notice that there are two layers. The red one will be below, and then you have that straw-colored above. So a major part of our blood is actually water. So when you are dehydrated, it is not good enough for you. Overhydration is not very common, really, but a lot of dehydration. And so you need that fluid to be able to make up that components of your blood. You also need a lot of fluid for your blood to be able to move around. And when you are dehydrated, it makes it very viscous, and that it makes it very thick, and makes it much more difficult for it to move around, especially in people living with sickle cell disorder, where there are abnormalities in the shape of their blood because of hereditary issues. This water also helps to move the blood so that it isn't stuck within the blood vessels. So water is really, really important. In short, for general good health, you need to continue to take water. It helps you to move out all your toxins. It helps you to move all your toxins. It helps you to take even your nutrients where it should be. It supports the red cells, really.
Yeah, I'm obeying your instruction right now.
Please do take it.
But I have to ask you this question before we go. If there's someone watching right now and listening to you that is already deficient in iron or B12 or any component of the blood, how long does it take to restore healthy blood levels through diet alone?
Yeah, so every unit, the red cells takes about 120 days for it to leave. But before then, so a healthy red cell takes about 120 days to leave, as in that is the, what do you call it, the lifespan.
In the body?
In the body. So after every 120 days, it is believed that it is destroyed. However, the production of those red cells takes about 2 to 3 weeks to start. So it doesn't just start at once. It goes from one stage to the other, another stage to the other. So for you to have your mature red cells to function very well, it might end up, if it's just diet alone, and that's why it depends on the level of the anemia. If it is mild anemia, whereby the functions of the body have not yet been affected, we can just leave you alone to just go on with diet. We know that the supporting structures you need will, over time, within 2 to 3 weeks, it will continue to build up the red cells. But if the anemia is moderate to severe, we cannot depend on diet alone because your body functions needs to continue. At that time, we can either support you with drugs that would quickly help you produce red cells, or we give you a blood transfusion. So it depends on the level that you are in.
I have too many questions. We haven't talked about special groups and their conditions and all of that, but it's just one of those conversations we always have. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Bodrian Shikumar is a consultant hematologist as well as Executive Secretary, Lagos State Blood Transfusion Committee. Now, when we return, it's our home stretch. And guess who we have in the studio? Nope, I'm not telling you. Do some hydration and then we'll be right back.